whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian, Ethnic Media Association. I also host the only online conversation for dads and fathers in the world that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And as a part of that collaboration, I'm part of a team that has reached out directly or indirectly to over 100,000 fathers this year as we're coming to the end of the year. And as always, you're blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on December 18th, 2021. This is almost probably the last live State of Things with Aisha and Jill for the year. We may do a pop-up version sometime between now and the end of the year. So that's why I'm encouraging you, please follow the Dr. Vibe Show, follow Jill or follow Aisha on the different social media platforms so you get notified if we go and do a pop-up version over the holidays. But I like to say, first and foremost, before I bring the stars of the show up, thank you, everyone who watched us or listened to us live or on replay this year. Appreciated, not taken for granted. It has been a really great year for State of Things with Aisha and Jill. We finally decided on that during this year, so that was a win because Jill wasn't just a guest. Come on, just like she's there. She's it. All right, both of them are it. So we decided on this year. Great things, and I'd like to say thank to everyone, especially our core people. You know who you is, and we look forward to do more in 2022. We're even thinking about doing things like giveaways because we have a way of doing giveaways live. So we're going to look at that for 2022. But again, any other ideas, please share them with us. I've mumbled long enough, so let's bring the stars of the show. There they are.
Happy holidays. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Hello.
Look at the trees. Both of them got their trees in full splendor.
Where's your tree?
Nah, no tree yet. No tree
yet.
Well,
You like to wait till it gets really close, right?
Yes. So probably I'll be hanging out with a tree in Montreal.
Nice. Ooh.
But but we'll still, like I said, we may do a pop-up State of Things during the holiday season because we're behaving ourselves. I think tonight, just, anyone who has questions, ask us anything.
It'll be an eggnog pop-up.
So we just want to say, hey, hello to Jen. Thank you for all your support, Jen. Blue Rains, thank you for all your support. Black Beauty, thank you for your support. Ladies, what's been going on in the last week? Anything of interest? Non-political or...
I don't know. I'm just doing a lot of like Christmassy kind of things. Definitely paid attention to a lot of political stories as well, which is never a dull day, never a dull moment. So, what can you do? And trying to find the balance in that and practice a little bit of self-care in the middle of all of this because it's just grim. It's like grim. So you got to keep going. No. So
it's the end of the year, so with work and everything, just trying to get an annual report done for work. Wow. And just wrapping things up that way. And my travel plans got changed, so I'm spending my holiday here in Connecticut, which changes everything, but it's all good. And just, yeah, I've been keeping track of the political stories too. The Kim Porter case in Minneapolis,
Yes.
um, the Mark Meadows
Oh,
thing. Those text messages were beautiful.
oh yeah.
And yeah, just keeping abreast of those things, and just arguing with some of the far left people on Twitter.
Yeah, the far left
Yeah,
have really been,
they're really
yeah.
they're really out of pocket these days. And just kind of also kind of pushing back on away from a lot of the drama, because I there's too many people complaining about things, and it's like I don't want the negativity all the time.
Myself included, I have been a part of that voicing of the negative crowd. Surprise, surprise. Then I started to feel pretty bad because I feel like I might have more of a responsibility to try to cheer people up. Sometimes I think like, I do have my opinions about what's happening and why the left isn't moving. And I get frustrated too, just really simple. And sometimes I do fall down the rabbit hole, the chicken hole, any hole, the black hole. It's just, I feel like we all do. And it's just really tough because some days you just feel completely like you just don't have any hope that this is going to turn around. And so those are the days that I kind of excuse a lot of my friends if they go there, or if I go there. I kind of know like they're just feeling that. And it should turn around somehow if we turn around. I don't know. I did start listening to some of those things on Twitter where there's a group that's meeting on Twitter. It's the
Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, they're talking. So
Yeah.
it's not right. And there's one guy called Really American, and he's got a ton of listeners so far, but he has it's about inviting MAGA people to have these conversations with some of the left and right and whoever, and they're all kind of talking, and he moderates it very well.
Good.
And I know that yesterday they were talking about BDS and things like that based upon what Trump said in his really biased, yet again, comments about Israel and the Jews here, the Jewish people. So that was very interesting. And they go through a whole lot of things. And, it's like shocking to see a lot of these MAGA people, because I tried to get Aisha on one of them because I was like, you got to get this brother in check. There was a brother out there
I was asleep
defending Donald Trump. And I was like, you've got to get on. And I was wondering where you were, but
I was asleep. By the time I woke up and saw that message, I went on, it was gone.
Yeah.
You could have got me on too. So message me too.
I will definitely. It was just outrageous.
Yeah, because I'm beginning to see more of those listed in my Twitter feed all of a sudden.
They're
I don't know how to enter. Like they haven't promoted them really well. What else is new?
But they're supposed to be. They're like a year old. It's like
Spaces have been around for a while. They're just not doing stuff. So
I mean, it's nice to hear these very cool, moderated platform. The hosts were. There's no screaming, yelling. Sometimes it escalates a little, but I do find that might be a solution here. That there are times that even the MAGA people agree. At least you get to hear where are they coming from, and then they get to hear where we're coming from. And you may not always agree, but at least it's so important to really get to know people that way, like you kind of see what their fears are, all of it,
Well, it's nice wherever there can be an environment of intelligent and respectful conversation.
Yes.
That's not the norm these days.
No.
So
no, it's not.
I tip my hat to anyone that's holding that safe and brave space to have intelligent conversations. That is fantastic. People who are watching live, questions, type them in. Come on. We want you to type in. Okay. Let's see. Well, and I guess I'm going to have to start off like last time for both of you. Was there a political story you feel we didn't talk enough about this year?
I don't know. I
Okay.
think that it's such a moving projector of
Yeah.
things, you know, and we try to capture so many of them. I think that even when we would just interweave some of the topics into something that wasn't an actual featured topic,
Yeah.
that was maybe one of our best ways to touch it all, because as you see, it's all, they just throw, it's like being in a house with a poltergeist and
Okay.
things are just being thrown at you constantly. That's what the political sphere looks like to me. And you're always, and then sometimes I think with keeping up with the story, and the stories, I mean, is the audience
Oh,
looking for us something that we've
so this
not looked
happened
at?
last time. Go ahead, Aisha. We got our
I
first
think
question
the-
coming in, though.
I think the one thing that we probably didn't discuss as much as we probably could have is the role the media is playing in shaping our political discourse. Because, for example, the media all of a sudden right now is talking about how badly Biden's doing. The man's only been in office 11 months. And it's like, give him 4 years to do what he said he's going to do, because
Right.
that's the term of a presidency. They're talking about him having like a failed presidency. Well, a presidency is 4 years.
Right.
It's not 11 months. And you have to, considering that he didn't even get some of his appointments approved until March.
I do think that people are doing that because, you know, and I, if I were a political person, I would know that that's the strategy of the media, to try to put pressure on us to move faster, to do certain things. The problem with it, though, is that there are people out there listening, and it gets them all heated up. Sometimes when I tweet things like, "This is the nail in the coffin for the Democratic Party," it's in a really weird way, a little maybe manipulative on a certain level, because I'm trying to get voices that want to scream and yell and say, fix this. And, it's not the best way to be in this day and age, which is why I apologize for sometimes putting out some things and maybe spreading a little more fear than I need to. My biggest argument for me is with Garland, and knowing that I had the Mueller documents and I read the book, and I just don't understand why, he was handed something. Garland was handed things with legitimate moves he could have made to indict that man. Now, if they've decided to go for something bigger, I don't know, but I'm very, very concerned with Merrick Garland. I gave him the benefit of the doubt early on, but
that's a legitimate concern. I think what I'm talking about are specific things that he said he was going to do that have to be done through policy. And but people not understanding that when he says he's going to do these things that are policy based, they have to originate in the House and the Senate.
Right.
He's when he says he's going to do something, basically he's saying, I'm going to sign the bills if they cross my
and
desk.
I think
Congress has to do their job, and they really are gaslighting people when there's, for example, the whole student loan thing. If one more person lectures me about these damn student loans, which I still have mine going back from 92 to 96, okay? And so the law is the law. It will take an act of Congress to get rid of these, okay? Period. He can do executive order, but it only lasts
for so long
while he's in office.
Yeah.
The moment he leaves, whoever's behind him, it's gone like that, and
it can be reversed.
It can be automatically reversed. So for any people want band-aids, not permanent solutions, and I said that on Twitter earlier. And so it's like it's like we don't. People want instant gratification, and it's like we have these fast processors on our computers, our cell phones are very fast, our smartphones, and people don't know how the political process works. It was
All right.
designed to take
We could have
time.
probably spent some time on really laying out what the processes are. Maybe
Yeah.
that's something we can look at,
Absolutely.
because
Well, you know who
that's
knows how the
educating.
processes work?
Hmm,
Naturalized citizens,
right.
people who immigrate to this country.
But I'm
They
saying
know
maybe
because
we
they
could
study it.
bring that into the show at more times, because
Yeah.
even with getting rid of DeJoy, you know, the only way he could get rid of him is by if there is a room for cause.
Right.
I thought that he would have had cause based upon the fact that the FBI is investigating him. They do have a lot, but they've been doing it since June. I mean, for me, I've been hoping the way to get out of stagnation. For me, I feel like if you start pulling and dismantling, sometimes you end up untangling. And so with our dead attorney general not showing any action, there's no chi energy
our
moving it
dead
forward.
attorney general.
Well, because there's nothing to make it where it becomes even a safe space for those senators who are Republicans that maybe deep down want to sign on to the Build Back Better, but they're in jeopardy because of the way their party's operating. If you start indicting people and start doing things, it changes the people on the board. You know, it's like a chess game. And for me, Merrick just needs to be doing that in order to get some kind of synchronicity and movement.
All right.
Yeah, for all his faults, I mean, and just as evil as he was, Merrick Garland's no J. Edgar Hoover.
No.
All right. Well, I opened up with a question. Well, now the questions have come in. So here we go. First question from Jen. What about each of you would be the most surprising to people? Wow. I don't know. I can say something.
Mm-hmm.
I actually love washing dishes and love ironing.
You do.
Love, and that goes back to when I'm still growing up, but physically smaller.
Right.
Every Saturday, my dad would ask me to vacuum the whole house.
Aww.
And at least once or twice a week, I would wash the dishes after dinner. And even up today, I hardly use a dishwasher. I like to, for me, strangely enough, it's therapeutic for me to wash dishes.
That's so funny.
And also, nothing like on a winter's day, pulling out the ironing board. And I don't iron shirts as much as I used to, but I love to iron shirts and have music in the background in the fireplace.
What about sheets?
Yes, I do that too.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So that may be.
That's a big task. You're a Renaissance man.
Well, it's just the way I was raised, like the vacuuming. I love those sort of things, believe it or not. So I'm not the greatest of handyman, but those little things like that, I can do. So that's my first thing.
Very
ladies.
Nice.
I suffer from debilitating anxiety.
Wow.
That actually, if I get stressed out enough, or I've had seizures.
Wow.
Yes, you have shared with us. I don't know if maybe live, but I know back channel wise, you've definitely shared that with myself and Jill.
True.
Yeah, my seizure disorder is psychosomatic.
Wow. Jill Jones.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
That's a good question.
For me, I think a lot of people don't. Maybe they wouldn't know. I like quiet time a lot. I'm almost like a hermit. I myself have little issues with agoraphobia sometimes, and I have to watch it just here and there, going in and out. Yeah, I would say the older I've gotten, the more back to nature I've become. I think family is most important to me. And it took me a really long time to, come off of the hamster wheel. I'm very tenacious. That's one thing.
Yes, I can tell.
I'm tenacious about things, but then I can be dead slothful, lazy. That's another thing. I do have that ability to sit back, watch the Waltons, no, for real, and anything on Hallmark, and just check out and just think of, I have a penchant for wanting stories and books. When I was younger and going through that sophomore phase, when you want everything to be so serious, you're the college person, everything is so intense. As I've gotten older, I don't want it to be that serious. I want to improve every day somehow with how I feel about people, because it's easy for me to cut people off. And that's probably not so good to do.
And it's interesting, Jill, I'm going to piggyback with you. A lot of people say, well, you do all these interviews, you must like people. I like my quiet time.
Me too.
I like classical music, and
yeah,
I sometimes just like, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I have no use for people.
Yeah, I mean, I love when random things happen, because sometimes I think it's a God wink. So for me, I'd sometimes like to just keep myself very channel free to just experience people of the day. I adore elderly people. I just love old people and animals. So I'm just, as I've gotten older, and it's so funny, I had a photographer friend of mine once who asked me why I was in the music business in the first place, because he said, you like horses, dogs, kids, animals, old people, all of this stuff. And he was like, you don't actually fit in it. And I was like, I don't. But I said, it's really the only thing I know how to do anything at the moment. But yeah, that was maybe, and he was right. As a friend in France, I'd be happy living on a farm somewhere easily.
Okay, so I don't know if I put the question up, so I just want to put the question up so everyone sees it. We complete it. Now, we got, of course, back to a political question. We were talking about this before we went live tonight. Blue Rain, staying on the political topic. What are your all thoughts on Charlamagne's interview with Kamala?
Leonard got what he deserved.
And who's Leonard?
Leonard, aka Kermit the Frog, aka Charlamagne the God.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
She read him like she was reading homework.
Right. I mean,
he deserved it.
Yeah. Ever since I heard he said that Prince was flying, and he came up with that crazy about an interview or some interaction he had with him.
It was the drugs.
I found it really, really strange. And I don't know how he got a TV show based from that day. It's like, because I think he had a radio show, as Aisha mentioned. And, it was like, we went through a really weird phase of like, people like to clown other people. And I felt that he was really unfair in his interview with our vice president. And then you go and look at him, doing the interview with Travis Scott, Mumbles McGee. And and he filled it. He basically framed the whole interview for Travis Scott. He created the excuse. And I found that to be sexist, misogynoir. It's like, it doesn't surprise me, but it was wow to see. You put a little bit of money in somebody's pocket and they will go and be programmed to go attack the Black woman. And I was not
He's
happy
been accused
with that.
of sexual assault.
And never, it's just unfortunate. There's something very pandering for me with him. And there's also something that I feel that, I don't know, I think he's degrading. I think he's kind of, why aren't women doing these interviews in our community? Where are the Black women in these positions? I really wonder why she even went on there with him to legitimize who he is. But it's because they bully and drag us into these situations. But the patriarchy, especially in the Black community, needs to get a grip, because that was unacceptable. Because people follow our lead. And I don't care what you think about Kamala Harris. You just don't disrespect her as being our first African-American, Black,
Indian.
She's Indian and Caribbean descent. Yeah. You don't do that. That's wrong to me. And I just like put some respect on that name. That was unacceptable.
Okay.
He's
Chris,
an asshole. Point
what?
blank. Period. I
Okay.
said he's an asshole. That's
Okay.
it. And he is proud of that. And that just he is an idiot. He's been disrespecting Black women for a long time on his show and even before then. And he gets paid to do it.
And there's always someone, you go on these interviews and then you have to gather yourself and then gather them together, because there's he deserved it. And you're absolutely right. This was not right of him. And I don't know, he all of a sudden thinks he's like doing 60 Minutes. I mean, is this where we're going to go with these people? Like, honestly, is the bar so freaking low that this is where we're going to go?
Dermatologist.
I mean, they're sending, these are people that are representing our community, and this is what our community wants. It's like mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. I don't know.
Okay. So
when you look like that, you have no right to be pulling stunts.
Okay. So there is some commentary here. Going back a little bit, Blue Rain says, so disappointed with Merrick Garland as AG. He's proven himself to be useless at this point. Black Beauty says this, though. Thank you, Blue Rain. I love Charlamagne for putting it there to VP Harris. He was right on trying to get her to know what's up. That actually got to pass something that you need to complete that sentence. But Black Beauty says that Charlamagne did okay.
But the thing of the matter, the point of the matter is this: the executive branch doesn't pass laws.
Right. He doesn't even know. I've heard him before.
That's the legislative branch's job.
I mean, he needs to take a class and
that's what I need for people, particularly our people, to understand. Every branch, there are 3 branches of government: the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and the executive branch. And there is a separation of powers. To pass laws, the power to pass laws rests with the legislative branch.
Right.
While Biden can have an agenda, he cannot do anything when it comes to the passage of a law except to sign a bill into law once the legislative branch has done all of its work.
They need to bring out that cartoon, I'm Just a Bill from Capitol Hill, because honestly, the last generation, they don't know it. I mean, all Charlamagne and these people remind me of is the fact that what the hell were they teaching these kids in school? They don't know history, and they certainly don't know anything about our government. It's shocking, but they get TV shows and they get things like that. It's, and in a really weird way, I think it's a perverse joke of the network to do it. I think it's kind of like, I think it's a tactic to just dumb people further down.
And
put somebody who's really intelligent on there.
And the things that a president can do by executive order, again, are band-aids. They're not permanent solutions and can automatically be undone by whoever is his successor.
Okay. Chris says, Aisha, you're so right. He got what he deserved.
Yeah.
Black Beauty is saying, I actually saw his interview question as letting her know that the Dems need to at least pass something to stay on top. I didn't see any disrespect, just a challenge to her to represent.
But here's the thing. It's not on her that the Dems aren't doing their job in the legislature.
Exactly.
You know who that's on? That's on the voters who put those people in office.
Right.
He didn't vote for Manchin and Sinema.
No, and there's a few other Dems that are screwy too. There's a few other ones that are on the fence. It's not just those two either. That's
the responsibility of the voters.
Right.
It's the responsibility of the voters who showed up and voted for them, and the responsibility of those voters who didn't show up to vote at all.
Right.
Period.
Okay. So let's move on, because we got a number of questions now. So the queue is filled up. So non-political. Jen comes with another great question. Who in life has been your biggest role model and why? If you ladies need some time to think, I can go first if you want me to.
You go first.
It's my dad now, it wasn't until about 10, 15 years ago when he suffered a heart attack and survived a quadruple bypass.
Mm.
To be honest, because I can't stand the word transparent or vulnerable. I'm just, for me, I hear that word every third sentence these days. I like to say open. I like to keep things easy and simple.
Right.
To be open. Um, yeah, because my father and I, for a number of years, we did not have the greatest relationship. And about 10, 15 years ago, he suffered a heart attack. The morning of his operation, I actually wheeled him into his operating room on his gurney.
Mm.
And then to wait for 4.5 hours, wondering if I'd ever see him or get to speak with him again. And when the surgeon came into the room, my life froze, because whatever he would say in 5 seconds would change my life forever. And he said he's going to be okay. And I physically ran to the surgeon, got down on my knees and hugged his leg for about a minute, minute and a half.
Wow.
And then I said, "Can I speak with him?" And he goes, "Yeah, go ahead." So I go inside. There's my dad, and I go, "How you doing, Dad?" "Oh, I can feel my toes now." I go, "You joker! You've been going on like this forever and ever."
Yeah.
So ever since then, so this is a great example. Something not good turning it into something good and great. So him and I now are the closest of friends. He comes to me with any challenges. He says, he comes to me first, and just a little bit of my dad. He was born in Jamaica, went to an all boys school in Jamaica. When he graduated, he went to Howard University.
Oh, wow.
My sister's a Bison.
Right.
And when he was going to Howard University, one of his teachers was the late Toni Morrison.
That's amazing.
So all those things now, storytelling, and whenever I ask him how he's doing, he says, "As long as my kids are good, I'm good."
Yeah.
What more do you need for that? So
It's true.
that's he's my role model. And like, he spent 38 years teaching in the same public school, basically in the same room, 38 years.
Wow.
And he actually, and I brag about him. And like, there's some families where he taught 3 generations of the same family. So I'll leave it at that.
I think for me, I would have to say that I'm kind of like with you a little bit on the sense of like, people have been role models at different points in my life. They've showed up.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to pinpoint what all of those people were. They were just there at different points that sort of were guides along the way. So that's really, for me, the people who showed up have been my role models.
Aisha.
I'd actually have to say my daughter.
Yeah.
She has the kindest, most pure spirit of anyone I've ever known.
Wow.
And she's been that way from the time that she was born. She loves me faults and all, and has made me always want to be a better person.
Wow.
And so, I'll just tell this. We moved around a lot when she was very young, because I just could not. I was still struggling myself, trying to wrap my head around being a parent and a career person.
Mm-hmm.
And, I apologized to her for it when I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, staying put, so you don't have to transfer schools again. And she was like, "Well, Mom, I'm always going to be on your side no matter what."
Wow.
And that was like, that for me was just like, I have the best kid in the world.
That's great.
And I stay put for her. And I stay put regardless of how it was tearing me apart inside.
Thanks, Aisha.
But
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
But that was just,
that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. See, folks, we do have another side to our lives. So that's why we do the Ask Us Anything, so you can get to know us a little bit better. Jen is saying, Dr. Vibe, my dad and I are very close also. Great. Black Beauty, thanks for sharing that, Dr. Vibe. Jen is saying, Aisha, that's wonderful. There we go. There we
Yep.
go. Let's go back to another question. That's okay. Ooh. Okay, come on, scroll here. This one is specifically for Jill from, guess who's asking it, Jill?
I don't know. I can't
Oh,
see
come
the
on.
comments at the
No,
moment.
but I want you to guess.
Django,
No,
Black Beauty.
no. God, you're leaving
Chris.
someone out. There we go.
Chris.
So Chris is asking, Jill, in keeping with your culinary prowess, would you please bake and send me some bread?
Sure.
With no offense to Mr. M. I would rather eschew the
I
Myers
definitely would do
cleaner
that.
infused
I have to figure out
variety.
how to send it, but yeah, I'll do it. You know, with DeJoy, by the time you get it, it might be a fossil, but I'll do it through another one of the companies. Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, that's so. Jill, what is your favorite thing to bake, or some of your favorite things to bake?
Still bread and any kind of bread in not just sourdough, but bagels and things like that. That's like the easiest for me.
The other day, I had someone bought me a wonderful falafel that was tightly packed with veggies and chicken and spices, and the bread was wonderful.
It's always like, if you can get good bread, you can, it'll change a whole meal. And also falafels, good falafels. I haven't had a good falafel since I left New York.
Yeah, there's a place here called Mamoon's, and they're so good.
Yeah. All the falafel places tend to be Mahmoud or Mamoon. They all seem to be Mamounia. Yeah, no, it's not to be non-PC.
Ours also has a truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I find that in Los Angeles, they tend to overdo it a lot. I mean, or at this point in some of the areas that you would think have the best, because they don't care anymore. They're just like, they can get the best stuff because they're making it at home. So it's kind of tricky, very tricky. Although we have this thing here now that you can actually purchase from people's homes food. You can make orders from them. So if you need like rice, or you want like a nice basmati, believe it or not, there are like these old ladies around, and you go on this site and they have ratings and everything. They've had the health department come to their houses and check and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a weird site, but people do it and say like, I had the best, whatever, Mediterranean food, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I like I said, even I met up with my dad and a few of his friends the other day, and he was delayed. I go, Dad, what made you so delayed? He brought some hardo bread. So I don't know how I can best this. I don't, but it's basically doughy bread.
Right.
When you take it out of the oven, you can cut it and you can just put butter on it and just
eat
them. Oh.
It's the best.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, there'll be a food question later. Don't worry. So let's work on more questions. And keep the questions coming, folks. I guess someone wants to know, Blue Rains, would you all consider yourselves introverts?
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
But when I'm performing, I'm not. But when I'm on my own, definitely.
Yeah, like right here, I'm not. But at home, yeah. I mean, I had somebody once say to me that they wish they could like see what goes on in my head. And I'm like, no, you really don't.
I mean,
you really don't.
It's so, I think more needs to be done for a lot of introverts, because it's really tricky to split yourself that way. And then on another hand, be ambitious and go for your dreams, because those two worlds, it's very, very difficult. And I wish there was a little bit more that would, we're living in such a culture at the moment where everybody is auditioning for something, and it's high energy and it's high maintenance. And I'm not generally attracted to people that advertise. That's the funny thing. Had I been, I would have never met Prince. That's what I really loved about him was his demeanor was so chill and so cool in real life. It was just interesting to me. I don't really have never gone for people who showboat and, so much damn mouth. I can't take it. But I feel like people like me, or if people like him or introverts don't have an outlet, it can be actually quite crippling, and they can suffer from depression because their needs aren't really being met. And I think the world is becoming narrower for introverts. I think it's becoming harder because everybody is so busy saying, and I'm this and I'm that, and call me this and I want this and I want that. And I don't think that, and you start to lose are they genuine about it, or are they just trying to get a TV or some YouTube followers? So for me, I find that we're not doing enough to put some shine on some of the unsung and the ones who are a little bit not as comfortable being vocal.
And see, that's why I liked quarantine, because I am an introvert, but like I said earlier, I have very debilitating anxiety, and so people who are on all the time, really, it affects my anxiety.
It drains me.
It makes me very anxious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would say, as I go on this journey called life, I'm becoming more of an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people would say, Dr. Vibe can work a room, and then yes, I can when I need to.
Right.
Exactly.
These days, I just rather, I love either myself or one-on-one or small conversations like this. When it gets too much, I just so coming from a guy who's hosted over 300,000 online conversations,
I know,
but I like my quiet time. I love my quiet time these days, working away and listening to soulful house music in the background.
Yes,
and,
you do.
And Blue Rains is saying, yes, Aisha, I actually love being home during the pandemic. So do I, really.
Yeah.
And truly. I like to go out. It's crazy out there. It's really crazy out there. So
Yeah,
I just rather.
It's so good if we can have, associate more with nature. The one thing that's kind of scary is that so many people are living in areas where they don't even have access to a nice park or to enjoy these things here. And that's another critical thing for mental health.
So Jill, and two things you said that are really good. First of all, I'll take the mental health. I was actually in a conversation with someone yesterday who does that work on people's mental health, but she doesn't call it mental health. She calls it brain health.
Okay.
I like that. I like that better.
That's true. Brain health.
And I fully agree with you. One of the things that really bothers me, and I live in a metropolitan city, Toronto, is that everywhere I turn, there's a condominium. Like, there are places that used to be full, like nice, green and lush. And it's basically in Toronto, if there's a piece of land that's a square piece of land, condos going up on it.
Right.
Like car dealerships being torn down for condominiums.
Yeah.
It's getting, and that's why I don't like going outside anymore, because I can't, everything's noise, whether it's physical, audible, it's just noise.
It is. And the simplicity of life and life's simple interactions just go away. And, to be really honest, I mean, in 100 years, it's going to be so different. I don't even know.
100?
If
I think
it
less
survives.
than that.
But I do feel like, it's just at a point where I think it causes a lot of anxiety for everyone to have to go out and with some of these encounters. And like I said, we're not doing enough to highlight certain things in our society that are worth celebrating and rejoicing. I don't care about somebody's condominium. I don't care about The Wolf of Wall Street. Those kind of films and all that stuff created an energy that went for years and still persists with people in their quest to become billionaires and millionaires and all this other stuff. That really robbed people of a lot. And it really made people depressed, particularly, I would say, in America, where there's really nothing carved out for human beings here. You've got to find your own place, because if you don't have certain things together, you don't have a house, you won't have a family, you won't have all these things, healthcare. At least you're in Canada, where they actually still see you as human beings.
All right. Well,
You know,
go ahead, Aisha.
You said, when you said brain health, I was like, see, for me, that's brain health and mental health.
Okay.
Okay, but I really have to comment. Okay, I saw a commercial the other day on something called tardic dyskinesia or whatever the hell that is. Okay. So this ad is saying something, it's called Ingressa. If you take Ingressa, it's for people who need X, Y, and Z. But there is a really funny phrase in the middle of it that actually says, there's no science yet to prove why. If you take so basically people who had something else take this drug, and now you get tardic. It's a side effect. You don't really know. And in the wording, they're like saying, there's no scientific basis for why you might have tardic dyskinesia, but just take it. And I was like, and they show a little picture of a brain with all these like things. I'm like, yo, you gave them pills and they got tardic dyskinesia. Am I missing something? Like, no, isn't that the side effect?
Some of these psychotropic drugs can cause involuntary movement. It's not always visible.
It's involuntary movement.
It's involuntary. It's involuntary, and you can feel it. Like I take an ass load of these drugs, and like you can, like sometimes like you can feel your lip. It feels like your lip is like jumping, and it's involuntary. You don't know why.
Can anybody?
I haven't taken any of the other things.
Well, in lieu of time, I'm going to cut it short, but I will say quickly, Jill, and some of these commercials I see for medical products, the long list of things that if you have this, if you can, I'm going, you're spending more time on what you can't.
The black box.
The thing, more time on people who can't take it, or what things you have that you can't take it, than you actually the product itself.
But the truth is, most people will have a side effect of some sort, however, strong the side effect is or it isn't. That's why I was always perplexed when in America, the land with 80% of people who are on drugs decided COVID vaccine wasn't good for them. It's like, really? Dude, you went out of work and couldn't afford your meds and you went ballistic in a supermarket because you've been on your drugs so long. I've known people who've been on Ambien for 25 years, which you're not supposed to be. You are not, if you're on Ambien for more than 15 years and you're taking it every night, you should have moved on to something else to find, Look, that's just all I'm going to say.
He's like, I get really severe migraines. I have since I was 14. And sometimes, I don't even get warnings anymore. They don't come on gradually. They just come full force. I had one for 3 weeks. Oh. So the day before Thanksgiving, and you just like, I'm used to just functioning through them. So the day before Thanksgiving, I called my neurologist. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Please prescribe something. And he gave me this Naratriptan. And I'm like, I've taken triptans before, but I can't remember why we stopped taking them. So it was a 5-day course of medicines. I took it. Migraine went away. The rest of my body felt like I went 20 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Wow.
That's how much pain it caused. I'm like, that's why I didn't take it. I stopped taking it before because it caused, literally my body felt bruised, but the migraine was gone.
Okay. We'll move on. And you know what? Some of these things I think we need to revisit in 2022. I think there's a lot of good content here, folks. So definitely touch base with us on remind us to talk about some of these things, because there are a lot of questions here. So Aisha, this one's for you. I think it was asked the first time we did Ask Us Anything, but someone's asking again, would you consider running for public office, Aisha?
I would, Chris, I live in Hamden. So maybe for state senate, that would mean I think Martin Looney would have to retire. And right now he's like Speaker of the House. And Rosa DeLauro would have to retire for Congress.
Okay.
So that would answer your question.
Jill, would you ever run for public?
No.
Look at your face.
I thought about it, but no. No.
For me, I seen what people go through in front of the camera, and I know what people go on who have been involved behind the camera. No. And I honestly think these days you can be more powerful if you really do it right outside of politics rather than inside of politics.
Although I'm starting to feel like Aisha and I might be good for it. We're like those women in the 80s who used to go to people's houses and clean it up. Get the spray can out. Yeah, I honestly feel like it's kind of like that. But I don't like the people in politics. I think they're all disgusting.
If you would have asked me this back in 2006, 2007, 2008, my answer would have been an absolute yes. Right now, I'm like so fatigued with just the whole process. It's kind of like only if I could probably win. And given where I live,
I would probably I wouldn't lift up the platform anymore, because the way my personality is, we'd all be like throwing our wigs. That goes off to Wig Maniac, who likes wigs. I'd be throwing my wig, and I couldn't be as esteemed as someone like Shirley Chisholm was, who could really slice and dice and still keep her dignity. I think the party needs a little bit more dignity and some kind of respect back onto the platforms. But unfortunately, everybody's just, grasping.
But I get why Chris asked me that specifically, because just in case some of our viewers don't know, Chris is from Connecticut as well.
Okay, good stuff. Blue Rains. Dr. Vibe, do you cook? And if so, what's your favorite Jamaican dishes? I do cook, not as much as I'd like to. My favorite thing to cook is jerk chicken on the barbecue. And beautiful. And I barbecue all year round. Even when it's like minus 10, minus 15 degrees outside, wow. I will still barbecue. Another thing, even though it's not Jamaican, I love cooking pineapple seasoned with cinnamon on the barbecue. Oh, is that beautiful?
I might have to try that.
Yeah, actually, many years ago, I went to a Brazilian restaurant and they had there's meat and things on a skewer, and they also had a pineapple on a skewer, and they doused it with cinnamon. Oh, it was so good. I say, hey, I can do that at home.
Yeah.
and I'm trying to master jerk chicken fettuccine.
Oh, wow.
But I am a pseudo foodie. I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do watch my Food Network, and I do love my MasterChef. Not so much US and Canada, but MasterChef in
Which
England.
Is really good.
Yeah, MasterChef England, if you can get it, if you have an Android. It's like the MasterChef in England and in Australia. Oh my goodness, the MasterChef! What Home Cooks and the MasterChef Australia do? Look it up on YouTube.
It's true.
Ridiculous.
You make oxtails?
Yes, I make it once in a while. Actually, there's a really great restaurant in Toronto called Sugar Cane, with sugar and cane, Kane. They do a great braised oxtail dish. Oh, it's dangerous.
And maybe I should take a trip up to Canada. It's like I've been looking. I was looking around, like in America, like where do I want to go? Do I want to go up to Santa Barbara? Would I like to go up to Seattle? Nowhere. I've been like looking, and they've closed all the parks, like to go and see the sequoias and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like I would like to, get out of here.
We'd love to have you up here in the summertime and enjoy all the different.
I love the snow.
Well, if you love the snow, you're in the right place. And like definitely, but actually funny, a little sidebar story. In the last 3 years, I've helped 2 Black American men move from the United States to Canada. One of them moved from Knoxville, Tennessee. Another one moved from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's living in
Wow.
Vancouver. And now another gentleman from my community has reached out to me who lives in Chicago, said he's had it with the US.
Right.
He's had it. So he's basically making sure that he can work remotely and have business in the US and live here in the Toronto area. So
Exactly. That's what a lot of people are doing.
yeah. So Blue Rains says sounds delicious. Yes. Jerk chicken on the barbecue.
The fettuccine,
Maybe,
keep us posted how you're going to do that sauce.
yeah, I gotta. Well, I actually saw. I ate at this restaurant, and I'm trying to find out how to do it. So that's, and what else?
It's probably just the simple bechamel
Yeah.
sauce with the jerk spices.
So I want to see if I can dig more into the cooking realm. So it was a good question. Okay, Jill, did you ever make lemon cake for Prince?
No, not many people really did. I know his housekeeper, Sandy Scipione, got him on that trip. She made really good cakes. No, not me.
Okay.
I wasn't doing
Okay.
baking.
All right.
Oh, what we did do was cut off those cookies.
Oh,
Those ones you buy. We did those because he really liked chocolate chip cookies.
I got to stay away from those chocolate chip cookies.
He
I'm
totally
trouble.
did.
I like
Trouble.
sugar. I love the sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Chocolate chip.
Actually, I just told my daughter to make some.
He used to eat the Entenmann's ones all the time. He'd buy them if he went grocery shopping. And then there was a store by his house where he'd buy a really good chocolate chip cookie. And yeah,
when they come out of the oven. Oh,
it's so good.
Oh, okay. What is one Christmas album your family always played during the Christmas holidays or during the holidays when you were growing up?
That's funny.
My sister's favorite one is A Season for Miracles by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, but we always played the Boyz II Men Christmas album. My
Okay.
favorite song from that is Share Love.
Actually, I had a chance to meet them
So did I.
when they first started off, and they came to Toronto. I was working for their music company at the time, and they had a nice intimate a cappella concert with about no more than 30 of us, and then we're singing them on piano. But yeah, for myself, Reggae Christmas, great record. Really grew up with that one very, very much. So Reggae Christmas is my vote. Jill?
It was the Charles Brown Sings Christmas Songs album. It's funny. I just did ask my family the same thing. What did they remember? But yeah, Charles Brown Christmas songs. And everybody, even out here when I moved to LA, it was when it would get really late at night and, put on Charles Brown. It was amazing.
Nice.
I still listen to it. It's like
Charles Brown. My
tradition.
dad is a fan of him.
Love it. Merry Christmas, baby. Please come home for Christmas. Those are like classics. Yeah.
You know what, Jill, if you do come to Toronto, I have to get, either one of you, I would love you to meet my dad because he is a true music man. He is actually a member of the Vinyl Record Collectors of America Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he is huge.
So he knows all these old artists.
Yeah. It's funny. Many years ago, I was reading a book written by, what's his name?
We should connect him to my father. My father has over 3,000 vinyl albums in his collection.
Now, he had a book written by, was reading a book by Nelson George, great writer, by the way, called The Death of Rhythm and Blues.
Yeah,
and
I actually just bought that book.
Great book. And I was reading it, and it's basically about the history of rhythm and blues in the United States. And there was a part I was reading about this DJ is in South Carolina. I can't remember. WROC, I think maybe in the station. His name Bill Haas Allen. My dad, Bill Haas Allen, has passed away. My dad has Bill Haas Allen's business card in his.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I went, what?
Because Bill Haas Allen was very good at playing. He's good for playing the shag music.
Yes, absolutely. Like my dad is the type of person, if he hears a song and he loves it, anyone who's done a version of it, he makes sure he has a copy of it.
Nice.
He is always that way. So on a different tone a little bit, Chris is saying just an FYI as opposed to a question. Sometime back, I was talking about a woman who I work with who refused to get vaxxed for COVID, and she was trying to become pregnant. 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, she contracted COVID. She's been in the hospital
Wow.
since, praying for her recovery. We are sending out prayers for her also.
Yeah, my stepmom is still in since December 4th. It's bad.
Okay. Next up, Aisha and I had a back and forth on Twitter regarding student loan relief that went south. I was hoping Aisha could give more insight on whether she thinks the system can be reformed or not.
Oh, Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi, Jacqueline. I think it can be reformed, but it's not something that Biden can do. Period. It has to be the idea that people are saying, oh, well, Biden can do it by executive order is a misnomer. He can do it up to a certain amount, but again, by executive order, it would be temporary. And the moment that he left office, somebody can rescind it, and those loans would come back due like smack. There would be no grace period. The moment that somebody removed that order, people would be left with these heavy balloon payments, which it would be even more detrimental. Right now, people have deferment options, they have forbearance options, and Congress needs to make a law to go back and do that.
That ain't gonna happen.
Exactly. It's not going to happen. What I took issue with a lot of people complaining, particularly millennials, is like I said, I think I said this at the beginning, where I said it backstage. I started college in 1992. I still have my student loans. I'm still paying them, and they only want to go back to loans that started in like 2010. You're going to leave out millions of people who still are going to end up having to pay their loans. I think that if we're going to look at this, we need to get voting rights taken care of first, because if you want this law passed, you have to vote in the people who are going to do the law, period.
I think the progressives are really pushing it and getting more vocal at the moment, because their livelihoods depend on something that they can deliver to their constituents. And it's really crazy, because with the Democratic Party divided like this, and knowing how nasty politics generally is, you've got, daggers coming at everybody. I don't know if, there are some Democrats that want those girls from the squad to be voted out. It could change a lot. And there's other things, devil in the details of all of it. So,
and keep in mind
about
who their
the voting
constituents
right.
are that they're fighting on this for. They are not they're not the first generation college graduates who are Black students who went to HBCUs either.
Right.
You're talking about these middle class white kids who took out student loans so they could buy cars.
Because if we look at the demographic in the Bronx, who Ocasio-Cortez is representing, they're doing this for their positioning of their party, like their little circle of progressives, and that's fine. But I don't know if we really take and go ask all the Black kids. We still don't have that many Black kids who go to college as much as they should have gone. And I don't think it's that urgent for them. And those are the ones who actually don't even vote anymore. Those are the ones who don't care. So now we've got a bunch of educated Black kids who have debt too, which still are a smaller percentage of the white kids who have a lot of debt. But the problem is, are we still targeting what that group of people who don't even vote anymore want? That's, and I know that they say if we deliver it, but these are people who are taking out payday loans that if they go behind, $500 turns into $5,000 for them.
And also the effect on their credit score.
Yeah. And if they can't deal with that, which makes it like for real, there are people, that's how it goes. And they're getting segmented and redlined. Go after the real estate developers. Go after these people. Try to create laws that close those loopholes. But to put all the pressure on you have a debt, that's all about the banks. And we already know when you start messing with the banks, you know, and God forbid you mess with Deutsche Bank, because child, you ain't gonna like survive.
Here's the other thing. You can do the forgiving the loan all you want, but let me tell you something. One of the practices that they could have gotten rid of, and they should have gotten rid of. Can I tell you how many times my student loans have been sold?
Exactly. The same as mortgages when they sell them. Yes, they sell them.
My student loans have been sold.
That's the problem. Stop that.
Times. They've been sold 22 times.
Yeah.
To one point where I didn't even know who had them. They started out at Sallie Mae. Okay. Yeah. They started out at Sallie Mae. Now they're at Fed Loan Servicing, and there were like 20 some odd in between. They kept selling them and selling them. And when they sell them, the interest rate changes.
And they're going to get sold again because the Fed's going to raise more money.
You end up owing more every time the interest rate changes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
They tack on more fees when they sell them. So it's a more complicated issue than just saying, pardon them.
And Elizabeth Warren knows better because she's been beating this drum and made a whole career out of talking this same bullshit. And what has she ever delivered? Honestly, can somebody please tell me? Elizabeth Warren has made a career at biting and barking at the banks, but I want to know, what did she actually fix for my life to make it so much better? Because I've had predatory loans. I've had stuff get sold. I have friends who have mortgages that just get sold. And you don't know why. You didn't miss a payment. You didn't do anything. Your Chase loan just gets sold to a third party. And what happened during the pandemic, I spoke about it before, is that when the banks froze everything and gave people deferments for a whole year, they did not address people who had those kind of loans. They left them hanging. And I dare anybody in media to go find those people and see where the hell they're sleeping on the streets now or what they lost. Because that story, if the media really wanted to be all about, let's get a good story, find those people, get rid of the predatory loans. But see, all of that they're all in bed with each other. The hedge fund people, why don't you stop these hedge funds from going and bidding on houses right now and throwing our market into complete disarray? There's a lot more they can be doing that isn't just like, well, let's just erase your debt and cancel it. That doesn't solve the problem, because then it will still be other people who fall behind and it'll still be there. Get rid of, you're only cutting off the thing. You're not getting to the root of what the disease is. That's what the problem is. And it's not going to solve anything.
Here's the other part of when if they were to just forgive everybody's loans, it's going to make it difficult for people. They wouldn't be able to make loans in the future available for students on a need base.
What about the interest that you have to pay with the IRS? Can we just deal with that? That's the first loan you need to go and deal with.
Here's the thing with the Stafford loans. Here's the thing with the Stafford loans. They are not based on credit.
Right.
Okay. So if they do this way without really thinking about it, what is going to happen is that these banks that guarantee this, they are going to end up starting to check credit. And you're going to see students not be able to get loans to go
at all. Period.
At all. Because now it's like, we're definitely not going to get paid back.
Exactly. And look at what Harvard just did with their application process. Very interesting. This week was interesting. All the testing areas now, everything's going to be done online, and you don't have to have your SATs or any of that anymore. I mean, which basically Harvard just made a move that if you have enough money and nepotism, it sounded great. Oh, no testing sites, but read the fine line there. It's basically canceling out people who do not have the money to go to college to afford Harvard. They aren't even going to bother.
And then don't forget too, in that the loans, canceling a student's loan doesn't solve the problem
That's what I'm saying.
when the student's parent also has to take out a loan for that student. I know this because not only do I have my own student loans, I took out a loan for my daughter to make the little balance that she had so she didn't have to take out a loan.
Right.
So they can forgive her all she wants. She doesn't have one. I have it.
Wow.
So it would not apply to me. So it's not fixing the problem. You have to be really well versed in how student loans work. And let me tell you, my sisters and I have spent like years studying all this, like becoming intimately knowledgeable about how they work, how all of these things like take place, and to the point where I've spent hours upon hours on phones trying to understand, reading all the fine print and knowing what the laws are behind it. It's not as simple as a brushstroke of a pen like they're making it seem.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, we're going to have to go deeper into the student loans. Thank you, Aisha, for both of you for those perspectives, because education, that's not only what it's cost and what it's costing is a big
And let me just say this. The first people that they will start not giving loans to are Black students.
That's no surprise.
Right.
It's like if we want to reduce the number of Black students who have to take out student loans, then the government needs to give more money to HBCUs.
We're all going to need to do some susus. We're going to have to do some susus and put some money together.
Yeah.
Send your kids to school abroad. Send them to Europe. You know, I know it sounds like a pie in the sky, but universities are typically free. We could get money together and create that, because the reality is the government only became that person in a small town who people would go to and borrow money from. And they became the worst type of gangsters. That's who they are. They're banks. They're gangsters.
You want to deal with the loan issue. You know what? Deal with a university like Yale. Yale owns what? Like 75% of the land in my hometown, tax free. Okay,
yep. Right.
Yep.
But they also need to.
Meanwhile, the city's in debt.
They need to deal with the IRS.
And they've got a $30 million endowment.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean, we've got Trump,
but the
who didn't
tuition
pay
is like what, $60,000-$70,000 a year.
A year. Trump hasn't paid any taxes. Elon Musk doesn't pay. None of these people do whatever they're supposed to do. And if you go and even look at what happens with the people, I'm sure, who aren't able to pay their loans or having a hard time paying their taxes, let me tell you something. Go check that out, because the interest that they charge is barbaric.
All right, let's move on, because we can stay on this.
I'll say this one more last point. If you come to the state of Connecticut, Yale not only owns the city of New Haven practically, they have ventured into the healthcare market. That they have Yale New Haven Hospital has taken over, monopolized the healthcare market, which means throughout the state they're getting tax-free land across the state. It's like this. It's like the what is it? It's like what the state's biggest employer.
Well, I'm just going to add a few quick things, because we got to move on, because we'll never get out of here tonight. But again, the Ask Us Anything segment, folks, don't worry. We're going to be continuing it next year, because it really is good stuff. First things first, I've never heard a college or university having money problems.
HBCUs always have
other than HBCUs. Yeah. That's just second of all, I want to encourage, especially young people, start at least have an entrepreneur thing on the side, please and thank you.
Right.
And apply for scholarships early. Like I said, my daughter was lucky in that she was only $3,000 short for her 4 years. Every year she's only going to be $3,000
Chris is going
short.
right, Aisha. Ye yell, it's insane.
It is.
I mean, my daughter, she applied and she got, everything but $3,000 a year. And UConn is high for it to be a state school.
Right.
One other quick thing I'll add here. Jacqueline is asking, I wonder if the new companies actually have your original promissory notes.
Not always.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not seen my original promissory note. My original promissory note was with Sally Mae.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
All
let me
right.
tell you, it would be nice to see the original promissory note that I signed in 1992.
Okay. Let's go to the next conversation piece. A few months ago, I took a break from reading, watching the news, and felt so light. Have either of you ever felt like you needed a break from it all? If so, how did you handle it?
Oh, I take them all the time. That's when I watch my murder shows. I turn on ID and I watch ID.
I'm an ID fan. Yep.
Or I watch things like I watch old school shows like Back to Life and Different Strokes, and Heart to Heart is one of my favorite ones.
With Robert
Wagner and Stephanie
Powers. You
Yep.
know what I'd love to see back on was Remington Steele. I wish I saw reruns of that the other day. That's with Stephanie Zimbalist.
Yes. Or I go sit on my balcony and just listen to music and clear my head. So yeah, I make sure I take a mental health break every day.
How about you, Jill?
I always say I'm going to take a longer break than I do. But yeah, I go in and out, but then I get dragged back into, wanting to find out what's going on. So yeah, for the most part, I took like a week here or there as well. Yeah.
For myself, I watch minimal amount of news or listen to minimal amount of news. The most amount of news I will watch or pay attention to is getting prepared for our weekly conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I watch the news daily, and I usually keep it on during the day when I'm working. Most of the news that I pay attention, but it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. The TV's really on, just to have background noise. I usually perk up because a lot of my work is with equity and climate justice.
Yeah.
Those stories are the ones that like I'll perk up for. But other than that, the other things that come up, I think I see it more as entertainment.
Okay.
I've learned to find the humor in it, and if it wasn't so tragic, it would be like even more funny to me.
Well, it's so funny. I saw that Officer Fanon from the Capitol on a German program, television show. He was on for 2 nights. And boy, was it just, let's just say the globe just finds it really shocking what happens and is happening here. I mean, we are dealing with like the whole Mark Meadows thing and all these things, and people basically just ragged on the Capitol Police. I mean, it's so disgusting. It's like nothing I've ever seen, but to hear, the shows in Germany are very intellectual and very sobering, and they have panels, and they're really like, that in itself is definitely going to affect. They basically were like, don't have much faith in our election coming up either. That's all I want to say.
Well, interesting. Germany has a new chancellor now because Angela Merkel has left, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Definitely.
Let's move forward. Blue Rains.
Oh, I just thought of something about that original promissory note. You know what? I had to have my mother sign it. I had to have a parent sign it with me because I was 17.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody probably has these things.
Blue Rain saying, true, Jill, being in nature has proven to improve mental brain health. Okay, Blue Rains. And I think definitely Aisha and Jill, and maybe I can give input on this. Aisha, I know you're a Prince fan. What are your top 3 favorite albums? So Aisha's a Prince fan. Jill had the wonderful 10 years plus with Prince, and I'm a Prince fan too. So Aisha, you go first, then I will go second. I'll let Jill finish off.
My favorite is Parade. My second is oh gosh, it's a toss up between Dirty Mind and Love Sexy.
Okay.
And my third is actually Artificial Age.
Okay.
Mhm.
For me, the Black Album,
Mhm.
especially since I remember being getting a copy a few years ago, sealed for $5. So that on the original Warner Brothers stamp label.
Right.
Second one, Dirty Mind, and uh, why am I forgetting the double album?
Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times. Yeah, yeah, Sign of the Times. But I thought, and I think the Black Album is just crazy. Just
Right.
like it just crazy. But those are my, and we'll leave the best for last, Jill.
I don't really have a favorite album. I think I have favorite songs and things that I like. So it's really tricky to, you know, look at it. I have very different reasons why I would
Sure.
think something is a good album. But yeah, no, I think I'm more in the song categories of certain songs stand out more.
Okay. All right. So just going back to our last conversation, but Jen says love Heart to Heart.
You know
Cinnamon.
what? I discovered Heart to Heart during quarantine.
Oh
My
wow.
Oh, it was on.
my anxiety was bothering me so bad, like because I was tired of just being in one place and I could not sleep. So I was watching Murder She Wrote on
Oh
Hallmark
wow.
Mystery and Movies, and I love Murder She Wrote.
You could probably find Remington
And
Steele on Amazon Prime.
yeah, you
Okay.
can. And
Okay.
Heart to Heart came on at like 3 o'clock in the morning after Murder She Wrote, and I just happened to stay up and watch it because I couldn't go to sleep. I was just like, just this nervous energy, and I loved it, and so I've been hooked.
All right. There we go. Cinnamon Canella. Yes, love Remington Steele. Cinnamon
Mm-hmm.
also says, does anyone remember Steel and Sapphire TV program?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No. Interesting.
No.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back. Answer to a previous older migraines are the worst. Trying to work with one of them is almost impossible. Aisha. Chris says also, got it, Aisha. But hey, Rosa, she's getting tired. Keep your eye on it. I think you would be great. Politics.
True.
Jill. Tamara says, which you prefer, writing a song, recording a song in the studio, performing it in an intimate setting, or performing in front of thousands? Ah,
Performing in front of thousands.
oh, okay. Why so?
There's I don't know. I think because people tend to be a little bit further away and it's easier to emote. And, I don't know. I think you can feel quite intimate with them being far away. It's so strange because your gestures are typically bigger and I don't know. I think there is a great deal of intimacy sometimes when it is in the middle of thousands because you're talking about all this energy is like focused on the stage. And smaller places are great and that's sweet and it's all of that. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. There's nothing like the feeling of performing in front of thousands. I'm glad I got to do it a few times in my life, but it's pretty quite an exciting feeling. I mean, it's after all what you strive for, right?
Right.
In this
Okay.
game.
Cool. Another question for Jill from Blue Rains. When are you going to bless us with more music? Do you think the estate will re-release your album?
I don't think the estate will re-release the album unless the fans really, try to help in some manner to get a lot of those records released. I don't know. I don't
Isn't that
know
like a Warner
anything.
Brothers issue?
There probably is. There's always an issue with record people.
Huh.
And to be honest, I make music just because I like it and I'm enjoying it. But when I enjoy it, and I try to do things. If COVID hadn't happened, I don't know. I wanted to be singing more live, and now it's just kind of strange. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not really motivated at the moment. I did my little things, little perks here, there,
Yeah.
mantras, things like that. I mean, it's sort of like when people ask me about writing a book about Prince. I was writing one and I was really focused on those times and about that era. And then the vibe has just changed with so many people in the world. I was like, they don't deserve to hear what I have to say about Prince. I don't know if I want to go down. I've given enough interviews. I've talked to so many people. And there's just now that people are just so hateful and hate filled. You know, it should be a very not judgy and all this stuff. I can only imagine what they're going to say if who knows what's on the Netflix thing that we did when we're talking about it. But I'm still unsettled about a lot of things with his passing, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I've been working on something and hopefully that will come to fruition just so I can close the door on being resolved about his demise, because that still just doesn't sit well with me.
Fully understand. Fully understand. Cinnamon goes, hello, I see a Christmas tree with Aisha and Jill, but where's Dr. Vachi? It ain't up yet.
He's going to make his jerk chicken and go to Montreal and then barbecue out in the snow. And then we're going to get you got to go live when you put this up so we can see
I
it
could
happening.
do that. I could go live in
at least film getting the tree and
That's
do
good.
it. I want to see some snow.
I actually have Prince ornaments on my tree.
Nice.
Yeah,
well, folks,
Prince ornaments and Michael Jackson ornaments, Marvin Gaye ornaments.
Yes.
Tina Marie ornaments. Yeah. It's a musical tree.
Mine isn't. Mine's not musical, but I have all sorts of little things on it. And a reindeer.
We don't people that we've covered all the questions. If anyone has any last questions, please type them in as we start winding it down. So I'm going to ask the ladies, what was one good win that you had this year? It can be personal or professional. Big or small?
I think I have a win on something, but I can't speak about it until a few more months. But I think I have a win on something that, been working really hard to see the light. So I hope so.
All right. Aisha?
Probably getting used to this empty nest thing and like embracing it and really enjoying it.
Okay. Cool.
That's good. Yeah, it takes a minute, like I said to you before. It takes a while.
Yeah, because last year my daughter left. I was devastated for like a week. And this time when she left, I was kind of like, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
And you, what was your win?
I had a number of them, but actually even had a small thing that even just happened up today. Got a message from a lady who I mentored a group of people, but I mentored a group of young people 11 years ago in an entrepreneurs program. And she messaged me today and asked if I could have a conversation with her. I said, sure. And we spent an incredible hour and a half. And she said, Dr. Vibe, there were so many things that you said back then, and I still remember them today.
Oh.
And I said, that she's married now. And it was just really nice. I think one of my wins, I know that one of my wins this year is that I've been able to work, have wins not only in me, but through me. So I've been able to celebrate things that I've achieved, but also made them to the benefit of others.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's
supposed to be. So that's been a good win. And also this being my most consistently watched online conversation.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's the most popular. It is the most popular conversation I do. And I'm a part. Well, no, I'm a part of. Let me correct that. I'm a part of. I don't do it alone.
You
I don't
are
do
a
it-
part of this. Of course.
Yeah. So
We couldn't
so
do it
that-
without you.
so I think that that it, and then for a long period of time, folks have wondered, when are we going to do it? Tried different nights, tried this and that, and we found our Saturday night home.
I know.
Mhm.
For the old homebody empty nesters like us. No, I
So-
think that, you know, it's been a very interesting just to get acquainted with the people in our audience. I've been
Yes,
very,
yes.
that's a great win, I would say,
Yes.
because that you guys are really good people, and you just know the ones who come back and participate and are just like there, and you get used to, we're very used to you guys. And I think that's kind of a great marker when not only you might make an impression on their lives or they make one on yours, you know?
Absolutely. So again, Cinema's going, Dr. Vibe, let's see that video with Christmas tree. And yes, snow, please. I'm sure they'll have some in Quebec. Don't worry. I'm sure they will have some. Jen says, what a great conversation, everybody. Absolutely enjoyed it. Enjoy your holidays. Cinema saying, Sapphire and Steel with David McCallum. It was a British science fiction. Amazon Prime has it.
I think I remember that. I think I remember him in Sapphire and Steel because I was living in England for a very long time.
And Chris saying, this has been a really nice convo. Thank you so much. You're really great people. Wishing you a very merry, healthy, and blessed Christmas. Right back to you.
To you, Chris.
Like to say thank you. And most of the people I'm going to say thank you. You've been around for a bit. So we're saying thank you to the right people. To Jen, to Blue Rains, to Tamara, Black Beauty, of course. Black Beauty, you still haven't come on yet. I'm waiting. Chris, and others who are watching live or via the replay or listening via the replay. We appreciate you so much. Before we let the ladies give their contact information, I'm going to ask a Christmas gift for anyone who's watching this live or on replay. So I have a special favor to ask. So I'm going to put something up right here. All right. Now there should be, okay, give me a second here. Tab. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Yes. All right. So up on your screen, I have been blessed to be nominated in the Best Podcaster category by an online magazine called BuyBlacks.com. BuyBlacks.com is Canada's number one Canada's number one online magazine. So I'm asking everybody, I'm sorry it's on over Jill's face for a moment, but there are instructions here on how you can vote for me.
Okay.
So the link is there, BuyBlacks/vote /165-podcaster-2021. When you go there, if you click on the Dr. Vibe and then right underneath you click vote, I would appreciate it and not take it for granted. And if you want to vote for me many times, you can vote once every 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So you can vote over and over again. So if you are up to it and it's something you'd like to do, we would love you to do that, because part of what the Dr. Vibe show does is this show. So I would love to get an award and share it all with all of y'all. So Blue Rains.
I have one thing to say that we might have forgotten that Wanda Young from the Marvelettes passed away yesterday.
Oh,
she was 78 years old.
Also this week, Bell Hooks.
Bell Hooks as well. Yes.
Bell Hooks passed away.
So prayers for those stellar.
Wanda Young is my favorite.
Bell Hooks was a big influence on me personally.
And also another person who passed away, I think it was this week.
Cool.
And also Greg Tate.
Yeah, Greg Tate.
Great writer. Wrote a book I read many years ago called Fly Boy in the Buttermilk.
Yeah.
Yes, amazing.
So Blue Rains, happy holidays to you.
And from the Roots.
From
the Roots.
And Kango Kid from UTFO.
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
Well, UTFO, they did the Roxanne Wars.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Now it's making
So
sense.
Cinema Canela,
But it
Merry
was
Christmas,
Hub from
Black
the
Beauty.
Roots, the bass
Yeah.
player passed away.
All right.
Exactly.
So folks, you know what? I'm gonna have the ladies give their contact information and any final words they'd like to say. Because as I said, probably it may be the last time you catch us live for this year, but you never know. As I said, we may do pop-up stuff. So what we're gonna do first is go to Jill Jones for contact information and any last words.
You can reach me at Jill G. Jones on Twitter or on Jill Jones Music on Instagram. And Merry Christmas to all of you guys. And I hope you have a, blessed and safe and stay safe and Zoom a lot. You don't have to go everywhere, burning and ripping and running up the streets. You don't have to do all that. Just
gosh.
stay safe and happy
Beautiful.
holidays.
Next up, Aisha.
Yep, Aisha Staggers at Twitter, and just have a happy and safe holiday and enjoy your friends and family.
Wonderful. And then myself. Best way to get in contact with me, two best ways. Website, the drvibeshow.com or Twitter at drvibeshow. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who checked us out, even for 2 seconds this year. This has been an incredible journey, and it's only going to get better and better and better. And as I said, we found a permanent home during the Saturday night 9 p.m. air time slot Eastern. So we appreciate it and don't take it for granted. So as I like to close most of the time, I will close with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. And again, whether it's Christmas, whatever you celebrate at this time of the year, be safe. And I always like to say, remember to give yourself grace. Giving grace, especially during these times, is so, so important. That's it, folks. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Walk good. And if we don't do something live over the holiday season, we will see you back on. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a New Year's Day show because that's the first day of the new year, because both Christmas and New Year's fall on a Saturday, but it'll be up to the ladies if we do that. Other than that, we'll see you soon. Keep safe. Give yourself grace.